So huge thanks for joining me. I'm here in Brighton. I haven't done any videos ever in Brighton. So
We're missing out there.
yeah, so I'm with Stuart Scott. We're in one of your co-living developments,
Yep.
quite close to Hove as well. So Stuart, some people think co-living is a posh word or it's a HMO, which is posh.
Posh HMO, yeah.
So it's a lot more than that though. It's
Yeah.
about the experience.
Yeah, it's about the experience. Yes, you're right. When I do a lot of my public speaking, that comes up a lot. You know, what is co-living? So co-living is just an Americanized term. It came from America off the back of co-working, and it's a user-centric term. And it came along at a time when people were looking at the HMO market and were looking for change. And so co-living just represents shared living. But ultimately, what it is about the product evolving. So we talked earlier about, for example, the mobile phone market and how much when the Apple iPhone came out, everyone thought it was saturated, there was nothing you could do. Before you knew it, Apple came out with a brand new touchscreen, completely changed the game. They called it a different technology, they changed everything about it. So really what we're seeing with the HMO market, or shared living market, is we're seeing that same evolution now. That evolution is happening, and the co-living represents the next evolution of shared living.
Stuart, so I love these lights. I'm slightly distracted by being in this room and seeing these nice fancy lights.
Yeah.
But this room, you can't really see it on video, the
Yeah.
lights, or certainly not on the standard iPhone, unless you're a videographer. But the lights, really amazing. What are the key fundamentals in terms of the design? I know it's thinking about the client, not going over the budget, so having a budget in place,
Yep.
not going for every piece of technology, and it's not just about technology co-living either.
No, so one of the things that's been our kind of niche, for my company Co-living Spaces, our niche has been design. So I used to run a design agency. Before that, I ran a product design company. So everything we've done is about, firstly, changing the kind of the terminology, the branding, and everything else. But that wouldn't be enough without changing the product. So the facilities, services, everything, the environment that you're in. So of course, coming from the background I have come from, which is product design, I've created the desirable experience that my demographic wants. So that means the latest technology, that means fibre optic mesh broadband, that means full Virgin Media package, that really urban industrial interiors that which we've become known for. And we build and fabricate a lot of this stuff ourselves. So there are our own designs, and we work with metalwork companies and timber companies, and we just build and come up with stuff ourselves. And that makes our environments quite unique.
Did you find it hard to find these suppliers, particularly when it's one-off pieces rather than...
Not really, because we've always got a number of projects on at any one time. So we are buying in larger bulk. It's just that we realise that we're front loading a lot of design time into our projects. But ultimately, there has to be that level of creativity in the projects I do. Otherwise, I just wouldn't do them.
Stuart, some people listening to this video may think that's fantastic. We're not really designers.
Okay. So on that, and that's a fair point. So. What I would say is that where I have travelled around the country and I've spoken to people and I've shown them photo shoots, and they've said, oh, I'd love to do something like that, but I'm not sure it'd work in my area. I'd say, well, firstly, I want people to be inspired that there's something different, and actually you don't have to do it the same way everyone else is doing it. The market's changing, which means that the product's changing. So just experiment, just try new things, listen to the customer, just try little incremental changes. If that goes well, just carry on going. So I think it's not about big change. I know we're creating these whole big interiors and.
How do you listen to your customer though, Stuart? Is it literally through?
It's very easy. You literally just speak to them like we're speaking now. You run user surveys.
You do run surveys though.
Yeah, I mean the reality. So when I was running my agency, these big brands would pay us a lot of money to do user research as part of our product design process. And all we did was we did what they weren't doing. We spoke to the customer. So can you believe that so many landlords don't speak to the customer and ask them what they want, when ultimately the money's coming from the customer? So if you created an amazing experience that people lined up for, they're going to be paying you more money with less voids and there's going to be a buzz around your product. Why would
Sure.
you not want to create an amazing product?
I can definitely see there would be less voids because of the type of clientele you're attracting. This is only a short video. I don't want to go on too much because Stuart will be on the panel on the 22nd of February. So that's 2018. So that's in central London. Stuart, and that panel is focused on hacking the housing crisis. For those who can't make the 22nd of February, how can they connect with you?
Well, if you Google co-living spaces, that's co-living spaces, you'll find us on page 1 of Google. And also, if you search from name Stuart Scott and co-living, again you'll find me on Google.
So,
on Facebook.
Look, I just want to say huge thanks for taking time out whenever you're listening to this video. If there's any particular questions, feel free to ask. You can get hold of Stuart fairly easy, and it's very, very easy to get hold of myself as well. You find me on a number of different platforms. If you've got an interesting co-working or co-living, because I'm interested in both co-working and co-living, and I definitely will have at some point in 2018 a co-working presentation. If you've got interesting stories to share, let me know. I'm definitely happy to travel around the country. In the last 3-4 months I've been to places like Leicester, Lincoln, Northampton. I was in, I think, June last year. I've been to Stoke as well about last June. So I'm definitely happy to travel, particularly if you've got an interesting story you wish to share. Thank you. Oh, what were you going to say, Stuart?
I was just going to say, actually, with regard to kind of like the HMO market, and with people watching this, I think that there is, and you talked about the housing crisis, there is a responsibility on the next generation of landlords to disrupt and change the market, because it's actually all of our responsibilities to change it. If I can come into the market, I came into the HMO market, or about 3 years ago, and then kick-started and kind of spearheaded this kind of push for co-living many years ago. So if I can disrupt the market and I can change the market, then that means that the market's wide open for change. So hopefully what people take away from that is that other people around the country can make change. You don't just have to do what everyone else is doing. You can change the market.
Do you think a lot of that, I'm trying to make this video short and this will be my final question, but do you think your belief in about change comes from your design background, or is it too simplistic?
I think so, because there's I've always known from the work that we've done in the past that it's possible to create change, and so coming into the kind of the co-living market, when I first came into the kind of HMO market, it was about creating a new product. So I kind of looked at what everything looked very similar. I kind of kick-started an urban industrial design trend. That made me realise, okay, I really can affect the market. Then, of course, the big thing several years ago was me pushing co-living, which, of course, Resi Merchant was doing at the same time in London, but I was doing it on a smaller scale down in Brighton. So the reality is that the market is more open than people realise, and whereas design per se you might need skills to create environments, creativity is in everyone's ability. So everyone has creativity, but some people would have just been more trained and more skilled in how to apply it into design.
Look, we're going to leave it at that because it's quite a long, detailed video. I just want to say huge thanks to Stuart.
Wasn't the 2 minutes we thought it was going to be.
No, and huge thanks to our listeners as well. Thank you.